Yo, this is Jay from Straight Smoke Gaming, and in today's video, we're going to be doing the same thing that we did for the offense, and I'm just going to be drafting an entire defense through fantasy draft before we take a single offensive player. As you guys know, I made an offensive version here where I drafted all offense before we took any defensive players. That video will be linked down in the description if you want to check that out or haven't seen it yet. Go ahead and check that out. I think it was a good video. I had a lot of fun doing it. Team actually came out to be pretty good as well. But like I was saying, for this one, we're going to be taking defense. So our first pick obviously is going to be a defensive player. I'm looking for it to be a good player. And first player I see here for defense is going to be Chris Jones, sitting at a 97. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm perfectly okay with that. I would take him on the team in a heartbeat, and I might come to that, but I'm going to end up taking a look here, seeing what else we have. You know, at left end, nothing too special, really. Going over to right end, you know, you got Cam Hayward. He's a little bit older, but not as good as Chris Jones. And then you got Dexter Lawrence there. Kind of weak on the left outside linebacker, so probably going to end up waiting on them. Fred Warner as a linebacker is a possibility. Khalil Mack is a right outside linebacker. Corners, you got Marlon Humphrey, Denzel Ward. Pretty good. I don't think any of these players I listed yet are on the same level as Chris Jones, so we're going to end up taking Chris Jones. It was close between him and Dexter Lawrence. I ended up going Chris Jones just because he's one overall higher, so hopefully that one overall means all the most when it comes to how this team does. So now that we finished the draft, we'll go over the team here. First, I want to take a look. Overall-wise, we're an 83. Offensively, we're a 77. Defensively, we're a 91. That equals out to an 83. I think that's pretty good. The offense is a little bit more rough than I was expecting them to be. I was expecting the offense to maybe be around the 80s. 91 for defense. I was expecting that to be a little bit higher, but overall, I think we still have a good team. So let's go ahead and take a look at the defense first. So first guy, we know we took Chris Jones. Defensive line's really good. You know, we got 3 X factors there with Cam Hayward, Chris Jones. Then you got Fisk. Who knows what he'll be? He's a hidden. He might be another X factor. Might be a superstar. He's been really good for the Rams this year. He was my last pick when I'm taking this team, drafting everyone. I made sure to get the interior defensive line really good. When it comes to linebackers, you got Leo Chanel as our left outside linebacker. One of the more underrated players on the Chiefs. Mario Davis, everyone knows him. He's our third X factor. 90 overall. I mean, he's good. Year in, year out, as he's getting older, still performing at a top level. And then we got Quincy Williams, I believe it is. Jets linebacker, 83 overall, right outside linebacker. Not bad. So overall, I'm pretty happy with this receiving core. Linebacking core. I think that's really good. Safety-wise, you got Tyrann Mathieu as an 85 at free safety and Harrison Smith as an 87. So we got a superstar factor when it comes to our safeties. Overall, a little bit on the older side, but like I was saying, this is a one-season thing, so I'm not too worried about this going into the future. All we need them to do is play good for 1 year. When it comes to the corners, you know, you got Darius Slay as your 1, Stephon Gilmore as your 2, and then, what's his name? Darius Williams, I believe it is. 81 overall corner. He's not that special. We're counting on Slay and Gilmore to carry this team defensively when it comes to the air, comes through the air. Offensively, team's a little bit rough. We already knew that. But overall, I think we could win with this team. Mac Jones, not bad. Tank Bigsby, not a bad starter. Alexander Madison and A.J. Dillon, I'll take those as my 2 and 3. I think that's pretty good. Receiving core. If you guys remember watching the last video, Tyler Lockett. He was a legend for us. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, I strongly urge you to go ahead and check out that video. Tyler Lockett had a career year for us. Our 3 is going to be Kevon Turpin, and I'm okay with that. He's got elite speed, good agility. I'll take that as a slot receiver. I think that'll be good. Our 2 is going to be Michael Wilson. He's a 2 in real life, so not really any much of a change there. And he's honestly not bad, kind of underrated. So I'm okay with his receiving core. We got Luke McCaffrey down there as well, and Cedric Tillman, who kind of had a good year when Jameis was playing. Tight end-wise, we got Darnell Washington. He's a big, good blocker. Hopefully, with him getting more reps now that Pat Fryermuth's not there, hopefully we could see if he's really good. In the offensive line, nothing too special. All like in the 70s, the lowest being a 73 with DJ Glaze, highest being a 79 with Talisi Funga. I'm okay with this offensive line. I was expecting it to be worse. I definitely think this offense you can win with this offense. It's not good, but it's not bad. So at the midway point of the season, as you can see, we're 3 and 3. Not as good of a start as we had in the offensive one. Overall wise, we're kind of middle of the pack for everything except opponent rush yards. So that's where the defense is holding their own, I guess you could say. Everything else, nothing too impressive. Honestly, kind of embarrassing, especially with how good this defense is. I was expecting that pass yards to be ranked higher. and I was expecting the points per game to be ranked higher. But let's go ahead, now that we're at the midway point of the season, I do want to take a look at some stats. So as you can see there, for sacks, Chris Jones, he's second in the league. It looks like he's tied for first. But let's go ahead and take a look at some more individual stats. Starting off first, I think we're going to talk about offense here with Mac Jones. Or nope, I guess we're going to go straight to defense. All right, so Demario Davis to start. We end up going to sacks. We're at 9.5 for Chris Jones. You got Fisk with 2.5 and Cam Hayward with 2.5. This defensive line, I would say they're doing their job. Those are really good numbers. Obviously, I'm expecting Chris Jones to lead it. He was our first overall pick. When it comes to interception-wise and getting turnovers through that department, kind of weak. Darius Williams has 2. You got Harrison Smith with 1, a linebacker with 1, and then Tyrann Mathieu with 1. So kind of weak. Looking for that to get better. Tackles for loss, though, Fisk leads the team, so I think he's doing a good job. He was definitely the lesser name on that line, but he is still showing up in a big way. He's got the same amount of sacks as Cam Hayward and leads the team in tackles for loss. Total tackles, no surprise there. Demario Davis is leading by 11. Demario Davis, he's a field general. He goes all over the place. He does everything. Now we're going to talk about offense, starting with Mac Jones. He's got 1,459 yards. Not a good start. 9 touchdowns to 9 interceptions, completing 61% of passes. So with the bad touchdown interception ratio and bad yards, that's not helping. I was expecting Mac Jones to maybe play a little bit better than what he is doing. Rushing-wise, not going to get any better. Tank Bigsby only has 202 yards, averaging 2.4 yards a carry. He's got 2 touchdowns. Alexander Madison down there, he's got 59 yards and 3 touchdowns. So the touchdowns are cool. It looks like he might be more of the goal line back. But overall-wise, this team, rushing-wise, they're not doing their job. No one's averaging 4 yards a carry. That's going to be a problem. Michael Wilson leads the team in receptions, yards, and only got 1 touchdown. Tyler Lockett, we all remember him, 32 receptions, 372 yards, and leads the team in touchdowns with 3. Then Kevon Turpin and Washington, they both got 2, and Turpin's got 361 yards. Washington had 207. So overall, I would blame the receiving corps, but I can't. Mac Jones is turning the ball over a lot, and the run game really isn't doing the job offensively, and the defense really isn't living up to the hype at this point, in my opinion. We end up simming to the end of the season, and as you can see, we got a wild card game. We ended up going 9-8. Honestly, kind of shocked that we even made playoffs, considering we were 3-3 to start the year. Defensively, they kind of figured it out a little bit more. The opponent rush yards and pass yards were top 10 in both of those categories. Everything else, nothing really to talk about. I was expecting the defense to be bad, and I would penalize them on the points, but I got to remember with how they're playing, and Mac Jones keeps turning the ball over. Maybe some of those are pick sixes and putting the defense in bad spots. I don't know. Let's go ahead and take a look at stats here to end the year. Starting off, we're going to talk about interceptions. No real surprise there. We did not have much of a change when it comes to interceptions. Darius Williams still leads our team. Now he's tied with another guy. They both got 2. So defensively, the secondary let us down. I was expecting the secondary to play better all year long, and that just didn't happen. When it comes to sacks, though, Chris Jones did his thing, did his job. 17.5 sacks. Then you got Leo Chanel with 6, Cam Hayward with 5.5, and Fisk with 3.5. I would say the defensive line did their job. That's a lot of sacks between 3 players. So overall, happy with how they played. They lived up to the hype. Maybe you could say that they went over the hype. When it comes to tackles for loss, Fisk leads our team with 14. Really impressed with how he did, considering he was a hidden and he was by far the lowest overall on the defensive line. To have as many sacks as he did and tackles for loss, I'd say that's a win for Brandon Fisk. I think he's going to be good in real life as well. I'm also a Rams fan. Maybe I'm a little biased. Taking a look at total tackles, Demario Davis leads the team by quite a bit. He has 117 total tackles, next being Quincy Williams with 92. So there's a pretty big gap there. Demario Davis was definitely the best linebacker on the team, and I was expecting that. I was expecting him to carry the linebacking core. I would say the linebackers did pretty good. The 1 and 2 are both a part of our linebacking core, and the main thing that hurt us here defensively, in my opinion, is going to be the secondary. You got to have more turnovers than what they had. Next, we're going to take a look at the offensive side of the ball. Mac Jones, pretty bad year. He doesn't throw for 4,000 yards. I was expecting him to hit that mark. He's 4 he has 4 more touchdowns than interceptions. That's going to be a problem. 24 touchdowns to 20 interceptions. That is a really big problem. That is definitely going to be a lot of the offensive struggles. Completion percentage, you got 63. So overall, bad year for Mac Jones. Rushing wise, Tank Bigsby runs for 691, averages 3.1 yards a carry, has 7 touchdowns, and then you got Alexander Madison down there with 171 on 5 touchdowns. This is going to be a problem. No one offensively, rushing-wise, averaged 4 yards a carry. That's kind of what I aim for. That's what I consider to be a good mark. No one averaged that mark, so who knows? Maybe when the offensive rushing struggles, maybe that led to more passing attempts than the defense knows. Tyler Lockett, no surprise there at the top of our leaderboard. He was in the same offensively in the other video. 100 receptions, over 1,000 yards, has 11 touchdowns. Really good year for Tyler Lockett. He definitely did his own the best he could with the quarterback and the rest of the offensive play that they had being pretty poor. Michael Wilson also didn't do that bad. 91 receptions, 992 yards, only 2 touchdowns. So that's where it lacks. You would obviously like to have more than 2 touchdowns. Kevon Turpin, 62 receptions, 813 yards. He gets 4 touchdowns. Honestly, not bad from your 3, considering your wide receiver 2 only got into the end zone twice. I would take those numbers from your wide receiver 3. Not bad, but obviously not the numbers that we are needing for this offense to be as good as it should be. And you can see we end up losing in the first round of the wild card to the Carolina Panthers. No surprise there. We end up losing 35-20. Let's go ahead and take a look at some stats. Starting off here, Mac Jones, it looks like he plays a pretty good game. Throws for 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, so that sucks. He completes 71% of passes. Overall, pretty good game for Mac Jones. You just maybe want to clean up the 1 turnover. I don't think that's going to change much. We lost by 2 scores, so doing that wouldn't really change much. Rushing-wise, this is where it was really bad. Tanks Bigsby, 2 attempts, 22 yards, 2.4 yards a carry, does get into the end zone. Your lead back has to do better than that. He has to have more than 22 yards rushing. He's got to average more than 2.4 yards a carry, especially in a playoff game. So offensively, I'm putting the blame on Tank Bigsby. Receiving-wise, offensively, Kevon Turpin, really good game. 10 receptions, 137 yards, no touchdowns. Tyler Lockett, also a really good game. 9 receptions, does get into the end zone, also puts up another 133 yards. So those 2 guys, Turpin and Tyler Lockett, both did their job in the playoffs. The running game, not really. Let's take a look at the defense here. Sack-wise, Fisk gets a sack. You would obviously like Chris Jones and Cam Hayward, 2 of your better guys on the defensive line, to show up in the playoffs, especially in the sack department. Good to see Fisk did, but sadly, the rest of our guys, they kind of failed us. No interceptions, so secondary doing the same thing they've been doing all year, letting us down. Leaders for tackles for loss, Chris Jones and Cam Hayward. Look at that. The 2 guys who don't get sacks both only have 1 tackle for loss. So that's not really that good in my opinion. Demario Davis leads the team in tackles along with Darius Slay. Both of them had 8. I'd say they did their thing. I'd say that's all right. Main thing here is going to be the secondary not getting any turnovers, and the star defensive lineman that we took didn't really show up in the playoffs. And, all year the run game just never showed up. So, when the run game doesn't show up, teams know you're dropping back the pass or put you in obvious passing downs. So, that might be part of the problem. Definitely, I will say at the end of this video that the defensive team did not have as much success as the offensive team did. The offensive team, they did better offensively, defensively, in playoffs, went farther, all around just a better team. But I think this defensive team, they were all right. Definitely, I think they would have did better if they had a better quarterback play. But that's all for this video. So if you enjoyed, please remember to like and sub for more Madden content. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.